Okay, so part A wants us to find the z-score when we've got a bird weighing 67.9, and they've also got the mean of 71.5 and a standard deviation of 4.5. So what's the formula for z-score? Z-score equals x minus x bar over sx. So we know x is the number we've got, which is the 67.9. And the x bar is the mean of 71.5, and our standard deviation is the 4.5. And we can see that's going to be negative, and it'll make more sense when we look at a picture graph of it later. And so that just equals minus 0.8. Now you do get minus z-scores, negative z-scores, so don't be afraid of that thing. Don't forget the negative, because if you don't put the negative, it will be wrong. Let's look at question 2, part B, sorry. So we got this 68, 95, 99.7 rule. And so we've got to really remind ourselves what that's all about by drawing a big graph, which we're going to use a lot of. You should definitely have a copy of this. Oh, that's terrible. Let's do that again. Try and make it look normal. That didn't look normal before. That's the best I'm going to do at the moment. This is our mean, x bar. This is plus 1 standard deviation, plus 2 standard deviations, plus 3 standard deviations. And then from the mean, we could go minus a standard deviation, minus 2 standard deviations, and minus 3 standard deviations. It doesn't matter at this moment, we're using sigma or SX for standard deviation, to be honest. Okay, now, in this graph, we always know that this distance 68% of all the data lies in there. And in this distance, 95% of the data is there. And in this long distance, between the 3 standard deviations, 99.7% of the data lies there. All right. Now, we have got this data saying weighs less than 67 grams. So let's start putting some numbers on here. So we know x bar is 71.5. So 67 is going to be below that. I'm going to put all the values in, but if you minus a standard deviation, you're saying 71.5 minus 4.5 is actually 67.0. Minus another 4.5 is 62.5. Minus another 4.5 is 58.0. And we can go the same thing. So 71.5, the mean, plus 4.5 is 76.0. Plus 4.5 is 80.5. And then plus another one is 85.0. So those are all the actual values for this question for answering that. And we want to go less than 67. Well, we can see where 67 is. So we want to know all of this area. Just color in a nice orange there. And so what is the value of that area? Well, let's go back to what we know. We know that up till there, between here and here is 68%. That leaves 32%. So there's going to be half of that 32% is going to be to the right, and half of that 32% is going to be to the left. And that means half of 32 is 16%. So we've got 16% to the left and the right of this line. So to the left of that line, that's what we want. That's that orange shaded area. So less than 67 grams is 16%. And that's how we got that one. Now we're going to just delete that for the moment, slowly, and try the next question. Now the next question says we want between 62.5 and 76. Well, where's that on our diagram? So 76 we can see is here, and 62.5 is here. So we actually want this area this time. Let me just delete the old area. And let's put that area in. So this time we want all of this area. Yep. So again, like last time, we know that this bit is 68%. So we've got to work out what the rest of this was. And we said all the way is 16%. Now we just want to cut off this part. So if that's 95% between here and here, then you've got 5% to the left and 5% to the right on either side. So this is 2.5%, half of 5%, and this is 2.5%, which is half of that. So we want to have the 68 plus the 16 minus the 2.5, 68% plus the 16% minus the 2.5%, because we want to cut that off. We want to subtract. I'll highlight what we're subtracting. So we want to subtract this part. That's the 2.5 from that. Okay. So if we do that, we should find, let's go back to red, equals 81.5%, yes? Excuse me while I just squint at my notes. So we know it's 81.5%, but we've got to take into account the fact that it is a number of birds, not a percentage it's asking for, with a flock of 200. So the last part is just to say we want 81.5% of 200, and that is 81.5%, because that's exactly what it means, times 200. And if we put all that in as a number into the calculator, we get 163 birds.